Sadie's song is mostly a metaphor, mainly the fact that Sadie's mother is portrayed of what mothers do in the real world when it comes to having their son slash daughter succeed, but not in their own vision, mainly from the child's perspective. And I can guarantee you that if Sadie was in the position that Steven is in when it comes to being the Crystal Gem, despite keeping her personality, I can guarantee you that she would have dealt a lot worse. And if Steven was in the position of Sadie while also keeping his personality, his trauma wouldn't be as bad as what he ends up getting from this show as this show continues. But then again, considering that Sadie could have trauma by being a Crystal Gem, knowing that Rose is responsible of all this, I can guarantee you that every other Beach City citizen who became a Crystal Gem similar to Steven by being in his position while still keeping their personalities, they will probably have a difficult time living their lives. Much more difficult, and probably not in the same position that Steven went through, especially in I Am My Monster from Future. I'm just saying for a fact that there was a lot more onto why characters just can't be able to be in the same position if they were a Crystal Gem like Steven. But let's get into the plot of the episode. After Steven heard Sadie singing, it gave him an idea that she should perform at Beachapalooza, and once Sadie's mother found out about this after Steven blurted it out, she took over, which Sadie tries to go along with it, but at the same time, she is losing her mind knowing full well that she is doing something that she is really against. With this being the first episode where Sadie is the main character without laws, it really shows that her struggles is mainly just trying to handle everything for herself, but by herself, without anyone in the way. And believe me, whenever I mention on how her mother is nowhere near as bad as Rose, considering of what Rose has been doing throughout the entire time, I can guarantee you that if Steven was in this position after Rose has been exposed to be Pink Diamond, I can guarantee you that he wouldn't be able to help Sadie in the condition that he's in. Would've, to be exact. But as far as I'm concerned, Sadie's mother is only bad when she takes over, in the fact that she is mainly only doing this just to show how talented Sadie is. Guarantee you that if Rose was in this position, I'm pretty sure that she will probably have a difficult time on making things right, but at the same time, she won't probably be thinking clearly, knowing full well that she's probably still going to do this regardless without thinking of what her sibling really feels. I know that Rose is mostly irrelevant in this episode, but at the same time, I've heard people that Steven has always been pushed aside when it comes to the other characters taking the spotlight. With the Steven-only perspective, well, he is trying to help other characters without them helping themselves. I'm going to assume that they'll probably only saying this mainly the fact that Steven just haven't seen Ross until the series progressed more and more. And considering that he just came from outer space after being put into space jail along with the other Crystal Gems, the worst has yet to come for Steven. And whenever I see Sadie in this episode, she's literally acting like every single teenage girl or sometimes teenage boy is doing with when it comes to the position on being in a direction that they don't want to be in, and the fact that they're having a panic attack literally 24/7 thinking about it. Granted, this isn't supposed to be realistic, but considering that Sadie lives in a life that is normal when it comes to humans, Steven lives in a life as a human, but also as a Crystal Gem. And I've always stated this way earlier in the review when it comes to if Sadie or the other Beach City characters were in Steven's position with the same personalities. But pushing that aside, seeing Steven performing in the song Haven't You Noticed really shows that he's willing to help any other situation and not being embarrassed by it in the slightest. I'm just saying that the reasons onto why seeing these characters being in gold outfits doesn't bother me in this, in comparison to other episodes, is mainly the fact that the characters themselves aren't being dumbed down and not being in the position that it's not supposed to be taken seriously. And even though that this episode is a Beach City episode, I have to admit that it still took itself seriously when it comes to Sadie being in a panic state with her mother finding out that she is performing. And since this actually continues her development in season 5 after Laws and Steven went into Homeworld after getting abducted, I can guarantee you that they probably planned on making Sadie more of a character once we get into more episodes. Granted, I've already talked about the new Laws nearly a year ago, but that's besides the point. This episode isn't one of my favorites, but at the same time, it's important if you're a fan of Sadie. So, for me personally, I felt like that this episode is only there for the sake of just showcasing Sadie's character and what she ends up becoming in season 5. And I am gonna talk about those episodes, don't worry. I'm giving this episode a 7 out of 10.